Welcome to my first YouTube video. My name is Felix Marcius. I am 19 years old. I'm an entrepreneur, and for the last year and a bit I've been focusing on growing businesses. Since the last 6 months I'm into traveling, so I lived in 3 countries now over those last 6 months. I was in Dubai for 3.5, I was in South Korea for 1, and now I'm in Cape Town, South Africa. And for this video I want to talk about a very important topic which a lot of us struggle with. Nearly everyone to some degree, some less, some more, and then especially when you're an entrepreneur, I would say. And that's self-destructive behavior, and then just habituals, like always falling back into those patterns, and my experiences with those patterns, and my strategies and tactics I've developed to recognize those patterns when they come up, but then also getting back into your normal well-being as soon as possible. So I would say that I'm struggling, especially this year, since my entrepreneurship has been popping off with this thing. And I would also say that it shows itself in a different way in every person, and then also through a different coping mechanism. So self-destructive behavior is, you could say, a thing which starts very shallow, and you don't see the impact of the destructive behavior that you do at that time, but then it gets out of control very quickly, like you could say, like a ball rolling down a mountain. So it starts very slow, but then it builds momentum very quick, and then it gets very fast, and it's very hard to stop at that point. So the importance is to catching it pretty quickly and not letting it go out of control. But then yes, this is one side of the coin, not letting it go out of control, but this is very hard. And then it's about making sure that it doesn't go out of control, but then also, how do I catch it as quick as possible? Or how do I get back from it when I've been at the bottom? So I would say, especially this year, it has shown in myself in the way of eating. So I do have this tendency, especially since this year. I would say maybe in the past I've coped differently, because coping mechanisms, that's what you do when, let's say, you are stressed, or you think you deserve to indulge in anything whatsoever. It showed itself in the way of eating. And it's a very confusing thing, because I never struggled with this in the past. I would say that normally I'm more like a eater who doesn't eat that much, because I was also very skinny. Obviously I've been to the gym. I would say I'm in a very good shape, and maybe because of this also, and because I bulked, my body changed a little bit. My stomach got bigger and widened itself, and at some point, like, hunger was not that much of a feeling anymore. By the way, for those that are struggling with this, I will also talk a little bit about this in a bit. But then I was searching for, let's say, especially entrepreneurship. It's a very stressful thing, a lot of uncertainties, nothing is promised. So I was searching for a way to, let's say, cope with the stress, to find like a way out. And it's a very sensitive topic, because I'm showing my vulnerability. But I had nights where I've eaten myself to sleep. So if I say I've eaten myself to sleep, you could call it like a I'm missing a word. You could say that, oh no, it's a coma. Like, I've eaten myself into a coma through the indulgence in excessive carbohydrates, you could call it. So when I got stressed, I would just get myself a lot of things, and then just eat till like my body was so under pressure that it had no energy for me to, let's say, sustain my other stuff, my brain, my activity whatsoever. So I just need to sleep. And then I just slept, sweating, digestion not going good and whatsoever. And then what happens is you go from this like to excessive guilt. And when you are excessive guilt, you want to punish yourself. So what could you do? You could tell yourself like, no, now I will not eat anything for a while. Or now it's only chicken. Or yeah, it's either this, a lot of self-restriction, or it could also be the other side, that, which is an awful, stupid, retarded thing, by the way, but it's also a thing I do. I failed already, now let me crush this and wreck this train all the way. So I can give two examples. One is one of one day and one is like an extended period. So you could say, cool, I'm over my macros, and for the people that are tracking their calories, I'm over my macros. So let's say I was supposed to eat 2,000 calories, I've now eaten 2,500. Days over, I messed up. It doesn't matter anymore, let's eat 5,000 calories. And I know that I'm probably not the only person that knows this example, but it's a very true example, that people think they need to crash the Titanic full into like an iceberg when it has only like a small scratch. And then the other possibility is that you are then on this, that you had, let's say, an awful day, and then it's very easy to keep this going, because you need to catch yourself either at the first indulgence, or let's say after a day, because then having an indulgence day after an indulgence day after an indulgence day is very, very, very easy. Or let's say the example I wanted to get to is that you indulge, then you restrict, and then because you restrict yourself so much, you fall back into this indulgence so quick. Or let's say you had a good day on, let's say, food, and then you think that you now deserve to indulge again. But I really like this example, that you build a building, you're a builder, you're working in construction, and you're building a skyscraper, let's say over 10 years. And then, because you built this skyscraper so good, now what you want to do is wreck it down in one night. Like, completely flatten it out, which is very, very stupid. And it also makes no sense from the outward, but when you're in this moment, it's very hard to catch yourself. And food is one example, but I mean, it shows itself in different ways. It shows itself in food, it shows itself in drugs or cigarettes, nicotine, whatsoever. It shows itself in, let's say, video games, indulgence in social media, let's say pornos, masturbation, prostitution, like excessive spending on stuff you don't need. Like, it shows itself in different ways and also differently in every person. For me, like I said, it's the indulgence in food. But then, why do we do this? Yes, because our brain, or we as humans, we have two ways. We always want to move towards pleasure and move away from pain. And then our brain only sees the moment right now. So if you're fully on this right now, you're just focused on the quick dopamine hit. Because in this moment, the brain will not see this, let's say, how you will look, let's say, in 3 or 5 months when you, let's say, massively indulge in food whatsoever. How bad your lungs will be if you just keep smoking pack after pack after pack. So on most of those behaviors, seeing the negative it's like a very big feedback loop, but that's like not good for your brain, because it will take a while for, let's say, you to see the kilos on the scale, for you to see that you finally got some love handles. So the brain is not seeing this. And then you need to recognize that all of those things, it's a dopamine hit in the short term, but then most of those things always have a negative outcome. So there's two types of pleasures, I would say, and two types of pain. There's either the pleasure right now, which then most of the time develops itself in a pain in the future. Donuts, obesity, one example. And then there's the other side of the coin, which you could say it's what's painful right now, but then which is, let's say, very pleasurable in the future. You could say gym is a very good example, because those things which are painful right now but pleasurable in the future, it's also like you have a feedback loop which maybe takes a while. Gym is a very interesting example, because when you are done with the gym, you got a pump. So you can already see the pleasure in the future, because this is how you can look like if you just continue. This can be your baseline, which is your pump stage right now. Your muscles are full with blood whatsoever. And then you always need to question yourself, if I indulge in something, if I get myself for something right now and it feels nice right now, what is the future outcome of it? Will it feel good in the future, or will it feel bad in the future? And it's one framework. I'm going to talk about the most important framework in a bit. What do you do if you're in this indulgence phase? I think a very good way, which I really like, which I did a few times, is giving yourself a complete reset. And what I do right now, so I am 48 hours into a fast. I'm fasting 7 days right now. And it's not only because I indulge in something and it's like I want to, I don't know, punish myself. No, it's also because you get some kind of clarity when you fast, because you are not being influenced by anything in your body whatsoever. And I really like this stage. I like it also because you're able to shrink your stomach. You give your body a full reset. So it's good for your organs whatsoever. But you do yours, I do mine. I like fasting. Especially if you then, let's say, don't indulge in too much social media also. So have as the little inputs as you can in that time. It's a very good thing. I would recommend it to everyone. At the beginning you should do, I would say 72 is the minimum, so 3 days, and then only live off coffee, water, tea, and then let's say get some salts and get some electrolytes and done. I'm now doing 7 days, but I also have a little bit of experience with that, so that's a very good thing to do. And then also easing back in, so don't punishing yourself too hard. And then say I eat 1 chicken breast a day. Maybe just ease yourself in, like I said. Another thing is that you don't need to crash the ship fully into the iceberg. Like, let's say you're 500 calories over. Cool. Done. What happened. Like you're not even able to turn back the clock, so just keep doing what you're doing. And then also, let's say you're not doing good right now, you indulge in something, it's 1 p.m. cool, you still have, let's say, 7 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours. Like, you don't need to lose this whole day. You maybe just lost half of the day, but that doesn't mean that you need to wait till tomorrow till you can start over again. Like, start now. Take this decision now. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't push it out. Do it now. Because you can only influence your mind right now. So you shouldn't push out important decisions for your future self. Because maybe right now you're in this good stage of mind. And maybe your future self is then maybe not as disciplined. Maybe has not this strong desire anymore. So it will maybe decide worse than you maybe would have done right now. I have 2 important frameworks also about this. That first off, you should recognize that yes, you're your own person, but there's people who love you, who believe in you, who want the best for you, and who just care for you. And if you then say, cool, I am hiring my likability of dying earlier, I'm indulging in something, you have people who believe in you, you have people that say, especially when you're a man, when you want to become a leader, who depend on you. So how can you just have a short dopamine hit and then, let's say, sacrifice some of this, that they will maybe not look at you the same way because you're just indulging into cheap dopamine. You're not the guy that you want to become because you're just running off shit. You say you do this, but then you do this. Like, recognize this. That cool. Yes, I can get my quick dopamine hit, but what do other people think of me? How am I being perceived if I do this but not that? Very important thing. And another thing is, you're going to die. Like, yes, that's all which is promised in life. It's death. So many people don't like to talk about this, but I think it's a very important topic. You always need to get it back into your head. You are going to die. It's the only thing which is promised. So we as humans have very limited time on this earth, and maybe you don't recognize it yet, maybe you will, but time is the only variable the variable that's at the littlest in your control. So it just moves away. And time can be very powerful if channeled, but it can also slip through your hands very quickly. And a good way to look about this is, would you also indulge in this if you only had 7 days to live? If you had 1 day to live? What would you do different? Because you have potential as a human, but let's say the moment you find out you're going to die in 7 days, like, you hit your peak. So from now on it's down. And it's a very tough pill to swallow, but yes, you maybe think you're going to die at 90, which is a possibility. You could live till 90 and maybe you have more time, but you could also die tomorrow. And then, would you want to live with the thought that you're going to die tomorrow when you just watch Netflix, TikTok, and eat ice cream? No, you would have wanted to make the most out of the human experience. And you wanted to reach your full potential, to be at your prime, and then look back and seeing what you've done with your life, the person you've become, the things you did. Like, you wanted a biography to be written about you. But then, if you continue the way you're doing right now, do you want that in your biography there's written that Felix laid on his bed the whole day and eaten ice cream and watched Netflix and played Fortnite? No, obviously not. And especially if you want to become someone, become an extreme, want to become an outsider, extraordinary, which also means you need to put in extraordinary, and which also means that some people are able to indulge more than you, because you're trying to do something and then you need momentum, and then it's input after input after input, consistency after consistency, day after day, and becoming good at something, doing something meaningful. It takes reps. And then you want to have not an extraordinary, it's you know what I mean, this curve. It's, you know the name. And when you are on a good track, but then always fall back, like, you're losing so much momentum, because, like, let's say also drinking, like, you lose the evening and then you lose the next day, so you lose the whole weekend. So let's say you have 5 days then, because 2 are lost. So I think this was enough. So see that there are people who believe in you, that you're hurting yourself in the long term. Ask yourself, if I would continue what I'm doing right now for 2 years, where would I end up? A lot of people talk about visualizing, but do some negative visualization. So imagine yourself 2 years, 5 years into the future, what you would become if you keep indulging, when you keep doing what you're doing, and you're gonna see that it's not happy. It's not good. You don't wanna end up there. So maybe you need to channel some of this energy. Like, I don't want to die knowing that who I could have become. And that's a story I like from Goggins a lot. He uses this example of him being in heaven, and there's all those people around his deathbed, I think, of who he could become. No, it's a text written, I think it was, Pounds, Navy SEAL, whatsoever, and then he was just a 300-pound guy, but he could have become this. So just recognize that you have potential, but potential is nothing without you acting on it. So you're going to die sooner as expected. So independent of what you do it consciously, and then say, this is what I want to do, and not just because your brain is on steroids, you're just addicted to a screen. Say, even if you want to scroll TikTok, then do it in a conscious decision, but not because you're addicted to the dopamine. And that's how I will end this video, and I'll see you in the next one.
And I tell a lot of people go, what's your biggest fear in life? And my biggest fear, honestly, was, let's say I don't care if you believe in God or not, I don't care. So let's just play a game with me. Let's say you're God. And we have a big fucking long line of people. And I made it to heaven. I'm 75 years old, I'm 300 pounds, I made it to heaven. I worked for Ecolab my entire life, spraying for cockroaches, that's what I did. But I'm dead, I'm in heaven now. And you're judging us all now. So we're in line, we're all sitting there in line, and you have Adam Brown. He has a big board up, and you're talking to Adam Brown about his life. And you rip it down, and I'm next in line, David Goggins. I see my name, and I see all this shit, and God goes, hey, you say, read this, man. And I'm reading this list, and I'm seeing 182 pounds, Navy SEAL, Ranger School, motivational speaker, changing lives. Okay, man, pull-up record, all this shit. And I'm like, that's not me, man. And God looks at me and says, that's who you were supposed to be. And my biggest fear, I visualize some crazy shit. My biggest fear is that one day I'm going to reach a judgment of my life. Something's going to judge me for what the fuck I was supposed to be in life. And what I want now is that whoever's judged me up there, I want them to have a board and them up there right now getting their pen out. Because, this person who judges you is supposed to know everything. Supposed to know from the time you're dead to the time you're, time you're born, time you're dead. I want this person to be up there to be like this, up there writing more about me, saying, fuck, I know you could do that. I know you can do that. So I want to impress whatever the fuck is up there, whatever's going on in life. I want to go up there and not have anything left on the table. I want to drain my soul of every fucking bit of person I am.